the momentum for change. This is a proverb. What has been is what will be. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun. But something impending will be new to all human experience, maybe even once for all time, that might leave no historical evidence of our existence. But every day our bodies replace their cells, a child is born adding a new individual personality that can and does make a difference to those in contact with it. And someone's perspective is altered by circumstance or information. We seek improvements in almost everything, updates, refinements. The potential for change, far from being negative, is vast. We are hardwired for change. And new things arrive for us on a daily basis in technological, scientific and educational development. Yet despite great advancements in cancer research and new methods of detection and treatment, percentages of likelihood have increased from 30 to 50. Climate change is generating panic strategies. Why now? Because even for skeptics, seeing is believing. It's difficult to argue with the fact. This year, parts of the Alaskan mainland were exposed to sunlight for the first time since the last ice age. With the seeming intransigence of political and corporate motives, the proverb above could sound somewhat demoralising. Yet, if it's true, it also presupposes that the solution must already exist. It could be right under our noses. Solutions are already here. So what and whom are we to believe? Most of the global monetary economic system is built on trust and belief that transactions will be honoured by both parties and fulfilled through automated sequences no one need worry about. And if that doesn't work, that some legal system will enforce those agreements to be honoured. That people will be forced to respect the law of possession. Of course, all these necessary parties and methods and laws, lawmakers and enforcers can be replaced overnight. Our 21st century has seen more than its fair share of this already. So everyone is aware how much belief and motivation out there has diminished, resulting in siege mentality for many. It could be said that there's never been such a mass momentum for change. But after 6 years of research regarding positive changes people are making in virtually every country in the world, everyday people are still unaware of those that have altered their local communities and national political structures, or achieved nationwide and international judicial decisions. So what does this movement consist of? New economic models, scientific and conservation networks, conference and webinar, every connotation and the smallest initiatives that can and do make inroads to address capitalism's negativity. Yet they hardly scratch its surface. Anti-capitalist, human rights activist networks and public political movements have formed revolutionary societies. NGOs, anti-poverty, aid agencies and refugee crisis organisations have never been busier. Everyday people plugging the gap of diminishing or overwhelmed statutory services. Charitable and non-profit initiatives and cooperatives are expanding, the commons and other sharing networks, alternative complementary and cryptocurrencies, circular economies and localised non-monetary economies have become national in scope and successful in both affluent and poverty-stricken communities. Green energy producers are increasing. Climate change, environment and conservation campaign organisations abound. Self-sustaining communities, eco-village networks and volunteer groups and individuals who, from the kindness of their hearts, simply repopulate endangered species or plant edible food in public places for their communities. Authors and academic institutions research and share these topics and projections with urgency. Publishers are inundated with submissions regarding the negative projections for the fourth industrial revolution and vitriolic finger-wagging at capitalism. So this appetite for change is not an insignificant force, but to motivate everyday people, these movements simply lack exposure and a concerted effort to utilise their collective influence and power in a common and easy to apply and more embracing system. They are dotted across the globe, but nobody has yet joined those dots until now. Seeing is more likely to engender belief, to counter the demoralising projections occupying the media. Respected television scientists, naturalists, musicians and actors now sense a political change and have started a momentum that should be seized upon. But as media sometimes reflects reality, this is only the tip of the looming iceberg. The sheer mass of social movement remains below the surface and unseen unless you dive into the internet to shed light on what's actually going on. The most recent and visible incarnation of this discomfort is, of course, Extinction Rebellion, pushing beyond petitioning and protesting to civil disobedience and disruption, involving all sections of our society, despite the unfounded accusations to dismiss it. All of the existing forces for change are generally well informed and know about each other, but there's another danger. If all efforts to redress capitalism's oppression are diverted to sustain personal kudos and individual agendas, they run the risk of remaining ignored and near impotent diluted forces. Yet this mass potential market is what the captains of the titanic, protectionist, neoliberal monetary economy fear will make them look like a dinghy adrift in the North Sea. And many of them are of the let's face the music and dance persuasion. With selective political and corporate ignorance on climate change, why get caught up in protracted and energy-wasting efforts to sink it when it's possible to offer capitalism its only lifeline? Now that sounds like a horrible thing to suggest with the way that capitalism is working, but remember we're talking about changing their incentives with a bigger thing on offer. First, ask yourself, who would get these things done quicker and better than politicians and commercial elites? The answer is obvious: the people already doing it. Now ask, who does it with less? And again, nothing new there, all the above. If all these initiatives by motivated people are being achieved on relatively small budgets, is it not logical they're the first port of call to form a mutually supportive global network that can then invent or adopt its own non-monetary economy or expand the existing ones through its memberships? Joining up the dots